Bhaiya, we are live.
Friends, a very good morning to all. I, on behalf of Association of Corporate Advisor and Executive, welcome all the attendees and delegates here to this session. Uh, I also welcome our guest speaker for today, Dr. Advocate C.A. Avinash Poddar. He is from Surat, and our today's topic is about burning issues in GST, analysis of recent case laws. Friends, as you all have been joining us, most of you have been joining us at 11th session of VCE. So we have, just to inform you, we have next few days, few sessions lined up. Tomorrow we are having session on the insolvency industry post-COVID world. And the speaker for this session would be Senior Advocate Sumant Batra. He's from New Delhi. And on 30th April, Thursday at 11 a.m., we are having panel discussion on the topic, Young Entrepreneurs' Perspective on Evolvement of Business Post-COVID. For this, we have panelists Mayank Jalan, Keventer Agro, Mehil Mohanka of Tega Industries, Keshav Vajanka of Century Ply. So please do join us at 11 on Thursday. And on 1st May, we have a session with Ms. Minu Bhutia, is founder director of Caring Minds, and the topic for the session is accepting a new normal life after lockdown. So these are the sessions which has been planned up in coming days to come. And friends, as just we have already informed and sent you and informed you through message and WhatsApp that we have come out with a bulletin wherein you will get all the notification and circular at one place, and that bulletin link is being updated on a regular basis. So you can go and visit our link and forward it to your other contacts. The link would be shared in the chat box. The link is acikolkata.org bulletin. So we'll share you in the chat box, and please go through it. Hope you will find it very useful. So with this, I would now request our secretary, Vivek Agarwal, to kindly introduce our speaker for today's session and start the session. Vivek, please.
Yeah, thank you, President. Respected speaker of this session, our most valued invited guest, and all the delegates who have joined this Zoom meeting. It's my privilege to introduce the speaker of the session. In the next 1 hour, we will be decoding the topic burning issues in GST, analyzing the recent case laws. Let's get some inside secrets from someone who has been around 2 decades of experience. Dr. Advocate C.A. Avinash Poddarji is currently practicing as an advocate since 2017, and he has been special invitee in GST and Indirect Tax Committee for 18, 19, and 1920. He has also been in the Indirect Tax Committee of Regional Council WIRC, and he is currently practicing as an advocate based in Ahmedabad and Surat, having branches, associates all over India. He has immense knowledge in GST, and he has been specialized in representing the clients for litigation in Honorable Supreme Court and various high courts in regard to CESTAT, Commissioner Appeals, etc. And sir, we welcome you, Avinash ji, in our Zoom meeting, and the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you so much. Friends, good morning to all. First and foremost, at the outset, I would like to thank Association of Corporate Advisors and Executives for giving this opportunity of sharing my views on the allotted topic. The topic which is allotted to me today is, rather I would say, one of my favorite topics, which is burning issues on GST. And I need to touch upon on few case laws or recent pronouncements of various courts wherein the principles, some guiding principles have been given by the honorable courts. So in the next time of how much time I have, like 45 minutes?
Yes, Avinash, 45 minutes to 1 hour you can take, and then we will open it for the question and answer.
Question and answer. Okay, fine. So I'll try to complete within the allotted time limit. Let me share my screen, and then we'll start the discussions. I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So what I'll try to do, I'll try to analyze some of the issues which are pertaining as of now and which are going to be there for longer duration, I would say. because this is something which is going to be settled not by the Honorable High Courts. It is certainly going to approach the Honorable Supreme Court, and therefore we need to be very vigilant about these issues. So these are the coverage, or these are the issues which I am going to cover today. Uh, Power of inspection, search and seizure, section 67. Some issues like one or two case laws which are prominent as for me, will be touching upon that. Then power of inspection along with the power of attachment, like they are misusing that power in various situations. So what the court has held in few of the judgments, we will be trying to touch upon that and try to analyze the principle of it. Rather, if next is like access to business premises. This again is a provision which is provided in the law, whether it is an administrative power or it is an investigative power, whether the department officer can invoke this and how they are misusing it. As per my experience, I will be sharing that. Cross empowerment versus power to summon. Section 6, read with section 17. That is also very important nowadays, because I have a jurisdiction of central authority wherein the state authority comes to my premises. Can he do that? And if at all he can do that, on what situations and under what cases, or what powers he have, that we are trying to touch upon. And mode of recovery, how the recovery can be initiated under section 79. Can a recovery be initiated at the time of search itself? That is the point that I would like to address upon. And last but not the least, there is a provision of payment of tax payable in installments. So we'll try to analyze few cases which are there pending before the Honorable Gujarat High Court, how they are taking it, what is the approach, and whether the installments are being allowed on a normal and a casual basis or not. So this is the coverage that I would like to have within the duration of 45 minutes, whatever time has been given to me. First, let me start with the very first discussion. This is Anup Singh Kirit Singh Sarvaiya versus the State of Gujarat, Honorable High Court of Gujarat, and the Special Civil Application 2705 of 2020. Now, in this case, this situation was that I am an owner. The I means the petitioner, the applicant is the owner of a godown. Now, the departmental officer have visited my premises, and they have sealed the premises. They have sealed the premises on the contention that the person who was having the possession of that property or that godown was avoiding the search team, was not cooperating with the search team. Now, the question before the Honorable Court was, can this property be sealed and how the seal can be opened? I believe the question is very clear to all of you. I'm repeating once again. I had a property, let's say a godown. The godown was sealed by the departmental officers at the time of search. They came for search at that premises and they have not found the person who was in the possession. Maybe because of any reason it was closed, or it was it was a holiday, or whatever may be the reason. But they have affixed a seal on my premises, and then I had to approach the court for getting the seal opened, and it has taken at least 1.5 years. Like the property was sealed in 2018 and I approached the court in 2020. So there was a time lag also. Now, what we are trying to understand here is section 67, when it can be invoked. Let us first discuss that, because you can see on the fourth paragraph, there are certain lines which are italics and bold and underlined by me. That is important. And then we will have a discussion on the case. See, please appreciate that section 67 has been bifurcated into, or divided into 12 subsections, but out of those 12 subsections, the enabling sections are subsection 1 and subsection 2. Subsection 1 enables the inspection. Section 67, subsection 1 enables the inspection. Now, what is inspection? Inspection is to visit your premises on the basis of an authorization by the officer who is not below the rank of Joint Commissioner, and to check whether there is any avoidance or evasion of tax. That is what is inspection. But the most important reason of having any inspection is that there must be a reason to believe. There must be a reason to believe by the officer who is authorizing such inspection that there is some instance or some activity which is causing the evasion of tax. This is subsection 1. Subsection 2 of section 67 says when the search can happen. So please appreciate, friends, and please try to understand that section 67 subsection 2 is very categorically saying that the search can be initiated either pursuant to inspection, that is inspection हो गया उसके बाद वो आप उसको extend करके search तक ले जा सकते हैं. inspection में आपको कुछ ऐसी findings मिली that the search can be taken place. Number 1. Number 2, in a situation where the stock which is liable for confiscation, I am repeating, a stock which is liable for confiscation, or the books or documents or things are secreted, which the books, documents or things which can be used in any proceedings or for the purpose of proceedings are secreted in some place with the intention or with the causing of evasion of tax, then only the search can be initiated. Meaning thereby, if you are claiming extra input tax credit, that cannot be the reason of search. Number 1. If you are not filing your return, it cannot be a reason of search. Number 2. If you have entered into some activity which the department feels that the activity is leading to classification is wrong, then in that case I am afraid that cannot be the reason of search as per my view. So in this case, what is happening, that I had given a property on rent. That property, or the person who was having that property in his possession, my tenant, was using that property for his business purpose. Now he might have done something wrong. He might have claimed some input tax credit incorrectly. There might be some fake invoice or whatever. Now the government has came to my premises, which was owned by me, and they have sealed the premises on the context that the person to whom the property was given on rent is absconding or is not cooperating or is not supporting in the search proceedings, and therefore the appellant or the applicant has to approach the honorable court for the purpose of getting the seal open by the honorable court. And the arguments were very simple. They have simply said, I am now reading that 4th paragraph. Officials of GST department present in court made this statement. As soon as the court has asked that since the property belonged to Avinash, on what basis you have put the seal in 2018 and you are not opening the seal? You had the power of inspection or search of that particular premise. You can go to that premise, see what all documents are there which are secreted there and which can use or which can be used in your proceedings. See whether there are any goods which are liable for confiscation, meaning thereby you please be abiding or abide to the provisions of the section 67(2). वही यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है, अगर आप देखें, if there were reason to believe that goods stored in godown were liable for confiscation, number 1, or any documents or books or things which in their opinion may be useful or relevant for any proceedings under this act, then they can seize the goods or documents etc. Otherwise they cannot do anything. Meaning thereby, अब कोर्ट ने उनको क्या बोला कि आप एक काम करें, एक्स डे पे आप जाएं, गोडाउन को खोलें, चेक करें कि वहां पे कोई डॉक्यूमेंट्स पड़े हैं क्या, कोई ऐसी बुक्स पड़ी हैं क्या जिसको सीज कर सकते हैं आप, या जो आपकी प्रोसीडिंग्स में यूज हो सकती हैं, और आप ये भी चेक करें कि क्या वहां पे कोई ऐसे गुड्स हैं जो लायबल फॉर कॉन्फिस्केशन है. अगर हैं तो आप उसको सीज कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज दैट पावर यू हैव within the 4 corners of the provisions of section 67. Otherwise the property is not belonging to the person who the person is only a tenant against whom the allegations are there, and therefore आप seal को open करें. So that was the pronouncement of the honorable court, wherein the seal was asked to be open, and if any documents or any goods are found there which are liable for confiscation, then that can be confiscated. So therefore GST authorities ने क्लियरली बोला कि जो कंसर्न गुड्स हैं या कोई आर्टिकल्स हैं जो गोडाउन के अंदर अगर आपको मिलते हैं, उस व्यक्ति के जिसके खिलाफ एलिगेशंस हैं उसको आप सीज कर लीजिए, उसको आप कॉन्फिस्केट करना चाहें कर लीजिए, लेकिन उसके बाद आप गोडाउन को खोल दीजिए, बिकॉज यू डू नॉट हैव एनी पावर टू सील द गोडाउन विच डू नॉट बिलोंग टू द पर्सन who is doing business there. So this case, why I have included this case is, this gives a अंडरस्टैंडिंग टू अस कि ऐसी कोई भी सिचुएशन जहाँ पे मेरी कोई प्रॉपर्टी रेंटेड है और वो जो टेनेंट है अगर वो कोई मिसयूज करता है उस प्रॉपर्टी का, इन दैट केस आल्सो वी हैव शेल्टर एंड द कोर्ट हैव टेकन द व्यू दैट सर्च इज ऑफ प्रेमाइज एंड ऑफ द business place of business. This search cannot be of the ownership of that particular property, plus the search cannot be of a person. Why I'm saying the search cannot be of a person, I'm just taking you through the next case law so that you can understand that. This was a very famous judgment. I believe all of you might be aware of this. Paresh Nathalal Chauhan versus the state of Gujarat. इस केस में सर फ्रेंड्स क्या हुआ, state authorities have initiated this search. They have initiated this search and they went to the premise of the person and stayed there for 8 days. वो उसके घर में ही जाके ऑफिसर्स थे, जहाँ पे अगर आप थर्ड पैराग्राफ में देखें, so they have written further in premises where there were 3 ladies, male officers together with CRPF officer had stayed throughout the day and night despite fact that goods, articles and things were already seized. Meaning thereby a search was occurred. It was authorized. They went to my premises. I was not found there. उन्होंने वहाँ पे पूरी तरीके से सर्च किया. मेरे फैमिली मेंबर्स थे, मेरी फैमिली मेंबर्स को हैरेस किया. 8 दिन तक मेरे घर पे रहे. 3 lady officers, male officers, CRPF officers, all were staying at my premises for more than 8 days. और मेरी फैमिली को एक तरीके से उन्होंने होम अरेस्ट या हाउस अरेस्ट टाइप कर लिया. ना किसी से कम्युनिकेट कर सकते थे, ना किसी से कॉन्टैक्ट कर सकते थे. That was the action which was taken and the entire house was messed. They were living in my premises, my rooms, and my family members were harassed. So the question before the court was, the question before the honorable court was whether this act is with the authority of law. क्या ऐसा कोई भी डिपार्टमेंटल ऑफिसर आपके घर पे या आपके ऑफिस में आके इस तरीके से बिहेव कर सकता है कि वो 10 दिन तक आपके घर पे रह जाए विद द एंटायर टीम विदाउट हैविंग एनी रीजन? बिकॉज उन्होंने जो सीजर करना था जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स का, सी फर्स्ट अप्रिशिएट व्हाट इज टू बी सीज्ड अंडर जीएसटी लॉ. either the goods which are liable for confiscation, number 1, or the documents or the books or the things. These are the only things which can be seized under the GST law. It is not a search of a person. I am repeating, friends, it is not the search of a person. It is the search of a premise. And you are searching it, you are finding the goods which are liable for confiscation, you are trying to find out the books or documents which are secreted at some place which can help you in any proceedings. That is the only intention or the power of search. तो कोर्ट ने ये बोला कि no, the authorities have exceeded their power and the entire action was without the authority of law. Without the authority of law, and the court have ordered the commissioner to investigate this matter, to inquire this matter and submit a report. Now this was not sufficient, this was not enough. What the court has done as a second instance, कोर्ट ने बहुत ही स्ट्रिक्टली इस केस को लिया और ये बताया कि दिस इज infringing the article 21, the fundamental right, wherein they have said that these activities wherein an officer can visit a place और वहाँ पे जाके वो 8 दिन अपनी पूरी टीम के साथ रहता है without having any reason, makes us understand that this was not a search, this was search of a person. And under GST law, it is not envisaged that there can be a search of a person. आप उसके बिजनेस पे सर्च कर रहे हैं, आप टैक्स इवेजन फाइंड आउट करने के लिए सर्च कर रहे हैं. इट इज नॉट कि आप मेरे ऊपर सर्च कर रहे हैं. एंड देयरफॉर आप वहां पे नहीं रह सकते जब मैं वहां पे नहीं हूं. आपको जो भी सर्च करना है, डॉक्यूमेंट्स इकट्ठे करने हैं, जो भी आप ले जाना चाहते हैं वो आप लेके जाएं, वो आपके पास एम्पावर्ड है. पंचनामा बनाइए एंड क्लोज दिस मैटर. बट दे हैव नॉट डन दिस. दे स्टेड देयर फॉर 8 days एंड देयरफॉर द कोर्ट हैज सेड, सेकंड लास्ट पैराग्राफ आई एम ट्राइंग टू रीड, फोर्थ लास्ट पढ़ने के बाद अब सेकंड लास्ट पे जाता हूँ. The entire exercise carried out by concerned officers are totally without any authority of law and is flagrant disregard to the provisions of GST Act and rules and is total abuse of powers vested in them under the Act. This is what the court has said. And then thereafter they have said, Commissioner must inquire the matter and submit a report. Then the report was also submitted. I am witness to this case because it was argued before the Honorable High Court of Gujarat. such activities are infringing the fundamental rights of citizen under section 21 of the constitution, being not backed by any statutory provision. कोई भी statutory provision इस तरीके का GST law में नहीं है, so you cannot initiate such kind of search, and such action could not be accepted to be done in good faith and could not be protected under section 157, and such unauthorized action of concerned officer would tantamount to an offense under the IPC. So that was what was the pronouncement, and those officers have been taken left, right, and center by the court of law, and the inquiry has been initiated against them because this action was absolutely bad in law. Moving further, this again is a very important judgment, I would say, because abhi nowadays what they are doing, they are initiating a search. They are initiating a search at a place. Maybe they are having reason to believe or not. I have seen such cases wherein even the returns are not filed. I will refer the case also. It is Mohit Minerals versus Union of India, Honorable Gujarat High Court, wherein what they have done is, just because 3 months return were not filed, they have initiated the search. My friends, section 67(2) does not emphasize, that does not empower such kind of action wherein non-filing of return can lead to the reason to believe that there is evasion of tax, and therefore the search cannot be initiated. So that matter is still pending to be pleaded and decided by the honorable court. But that was the principle, that was the question before the court of law: can non-filing of return be a reason for initiation of a search? Now what they are doing is, they are coming to our premises for search. Once the search is conducted, at the same time they are invoking the power of section 87, wherein they are saying that your property, your bank account is provisionally attached by us. Your bank account is provisionally attached, or the property is provisionally attached. So in that case, this is Valerius Industries versus Union of India. It's a very important judgment of Honorable High Court of Gujarat. I'm covering only the recent ones. There are n number of past precedences. पिछले बहुत सारे ऐसे केसेस हैं जहाँ पे बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट ने भी बोला है, गुजरात हाई कोर्ट ने भी बोला है, दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी बोला है कि आप सेक्शन जो आपको प्रोविजनल अटैचमेंट का पावर देता है, व्हेन यू कैन इन्वोक दोस प्रोविजंस एंड इन व्हाट सिचुएशंस दोस प्रोविजंस और दोस पावर्स कैन बी इन्वोक्ड. So let us, friends, read this. This is very important judgment as per me. It says that any provisional attachment, irrespective of the fact whether it is of property or it is of bank account, has a very far-reaching impact, and therefore this judgment, as I'm finding very relevant. It says only because of the proceedings are initiated is not sufficient to arrive to the satisfaction that it is necessary to provisionally attach for the purpose of protecting the interest of revenue. Now section 83, please refer that section 83. It says whenever there are any proceedings which are pending under section 67, 73, 74, XXX, then only section 83 can be invoked. Meaning thereby, if there are no proceedings pending, then section 83 cannot be invoked. So further they have said that the proper has specifically conferred upon commissioner to form an opinion. Then the question was, can the commissioner give this power or delegate this power to someone else? The answer is written in section 5, section 6, that the commissioner in case of CGST is commissioner in board, and in case of SGST it is commissioner of state tax. The further the issue that was discussed was that in income tax there is section 281B which provides for provisional attachment. It is peri materia with section 83 of the CGST Act. Only the feature of 281B of Income Tax Act is that they have the guidelines. Income tax, they have the guidelines to invoke the powers, whereas in case of GST still there are no guidelines, और वो किसी भी मैटर में कहीं भी किसी भी को भी delegate कर देते हैं. The commissioner is delegating this power even to the superintendent in Gujarat. I have seen even to the assistant commissioner those powers are given. Now how a person having the caliber of a commissioner and experience of a commissioner and a power and a person who is superintendent or assistant commissioner newly appointed can be kept parallel? How they can have one reason to believe? So that again is a question which was raised before this authority. I am not answering that how it has taken. So therefore I have mentioned the civil application number. आप ये citations को download कर सकते हैं and you can read the entire judgment. This is one wonderful judgment. Because of the paucity of time, I will not be in a position to cover all the facts of the case. But the important point I am trying to cover, it says power conferred upon the authority under section 83 for provisional attachment can be termed as a very drastic. This is very important. as a very drastic and far-reaching power, and therefore such power should be used sparingly, meaning thereby in a very rare circumstance and only on substantive weighty grounds and reasons. Otherwise this power cannot be or shall not be invoked. अभी तो क्या हो रहा है सर, वो लेके ही जाते हैं वो फॉर्म अटैचमेंट का, वहां पे जाके सर्च करते हैं और हाथों हाथ वो फॉर्म भर के दे देते हैं उसको कि आपकी प्रॉपर्टी अटैच हो गई. दिस इज एब्सोल्युटली बैड इन लॉ. यू विल हैव टू एस्टैब्लिश कि in the interest of the revenue, in the interest and to protect the interest of the revenue, I am doing or I am invoking such power. Further, it says provisional attachment power under section 83 should be exercised by the authority only if there is a reasonable apprehension that assessee may default ultimate collection of demand that is likely to be raised on completion of assessment. ये डर होगा तो ही आप कर सकते हो. And if there is sufficient material on record to justify satisfaction that assessee is about to dispose of wholly or any part of his property with a view to thwarting the ultimate collection of demand, तो ही आप जा सकते हो. Otherwise you cannot invoke section 83. This is what the court has pronounced. Now friends, there are two questions. First I would address that and then we'll go to the access to business premises. These are the questions. Administrative power and investigative power. We need to read the law. This is my view, and whatever I am sharing is purely my view. There may be the other views also, but what I intend to say here is, at the time of reading the law, wherein the powers have been given to the authorities, we need to understand, we need to interpret whether this power is an investigative power or an administrative power. In case the power is an administrative power, then under GST will have to be very clear that only our jurisdictional officer can take actions against us or can invoke those powers. And in case it is an investigative power, then certainly I would like to share one of the GST Council's meeting and the decision thereof. Now please appreciate what can be the administrative powers. The administrative powers can be scrutiny of returns, it can be audit, it can be any what I can say, notice sent for the purpose of collection of any evidence or documents. These powers are investigative powers. जहाँ वो 46 का आपको नोटिस भेजेगा कि आप रिटर्न भरिए, आपको 62 में बोलेगा स्क्रूटनी कराइए आप 61 में, वो जो पावर्स हैं, ऑल दोज पावर्स आर पर्टेनिंग टू एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव पावर्स. आपका समरी असेसमेंट करेगा, प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट करेगा, तो ये एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव पावर एज पर माय व्यू कैन बी एक्सरसाइज ओनली बाय द ऑफिसर अंडर हुज जुरिसडिक्शन यू आर फॉलोइंग. मीनिंग देयरबाय अगर आप सेंट्रल जुरिसडिक्शन में है तो केवल सेंट्रल अथॉरिटी कर सकता है, अगर आप स्टेट जुरिसडिक्शन में है तो स्टेट अथॉरिटी कर सकता है. इट कैनॉट बी क्रॉस यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ द पावर्स. So therefore administrative powers very strictly has to be used within the jurisdiction as well as in comparison to investigative powers, because GST Council in the 9th GST Council meeting, wherein जब ये पूरा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हो रहा था आपके एसएससीज का कि 90% स्टेट में जाएगा, 10% सेंटर में आएगा, बड़े एसएससी में 50-50 होगा, all those distributions were being done. At that point of time the issue of cross empowerment was discussed. 9th GST Council meeting, it was discussed. And in the meeting of cross empowerment, in the meeting of wherein this discussion was happening, they have said that only in case, I'm repeating, only in case where the enforcement is taking place, or enforcement is being initiated, the cross empowerment is allowed. Meaning thereby अगर मेरा सेंटर का लोकेशन, सेंटर का जुरिसडिक्शन है, मैं सेंट्रल जुरिसडिक्शन में फॉलो करता हूँ, तो स्टेट वाला मेरे आके सर्च कर सकता है, और अगर मैं स्टेट में फॉलो करता हूं तो सेंटर वाला आके कर सकता है. बट ओनली इन केस वेयर द इन्फोर्समेंट इज इनिशिएटेड, मीनिंग देयरबाय वेयर द सर्च एक्शन इज इनिशिएटेड, मीनिंग देयरबाय वेयर द इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग पावर्स आर इन्वोक्ड. इफ द इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग पावर्स आर नॉट इन्वोक्ड, देन इन दैट केस आई एम अफ्रेड द jurisdictional officer can only approach me. He cannot, or the officer cannot invoke the investigative powers. Now friends, now with this context, let us try to understand the provision of section 71. This is the provision which I have written. Just I will try to analyze the lines which are bold and underlined. It says for the purpose of carrying out any audit. Now first line if you read, it says any officer under this act authorized by the proper officer not below the rank of joint commissioner shall have access to any place of business of a registered person to inspect books of accounts, documents, computers, computer programs, computer software, whether installed in a computer or otherwise, and such other things as he may require. Now he can go and inspect these books of accounts, computers, softwares, and the documents. That is what is empowered under section 71 for access to business premises. And what is the purpose of having such inspection? The purpose is carrying out any audit, scrutiny, verification, and checks. Does this include search? The answer is no. So as per my reading of the law, it is an administrative power. It is an administrative power, and therefore before accessing my business premises under section 71, देखिए अगर वो इंस्पेक्शन 67 में करना चाहते हैं तो INS 01 का ऑथराइजेशन लेके आएंगे, दैट इज फॉर श्योर. दैट विल बी अंडर सेक्शन 67(1), 67(2). बट अगर वो 71 का ऑथराइजेशन मेरे पास लेके आ रहे हैं तो आई वुड से दैट द एक्शन पर से इज एब्सोल्युटली बैड इन लॉ विदाउट द अथॉरिटी ऑफ लॉ, एंड दे आर डूइंग इट अक्रॉस द कंट्री. क्योंकि पहले सर्च करने के लिए दे विल हैव टू prove that there are reasons to believe for initiating a search or inspection, wherein in this case section 71 does not envisage the reason to believe existence, and therefore even if there is no reason to believe they can access my business premises. तो मैं तो इतना बोलता हूँ और मैं बहुत थोड़ा सा फ्रैंक और बोल्डली बोलना चाहता हूँ हमेशा, और बोलता हूँ कि डिपार्टमेंटल ऑफिसर ये समझते हैं कि दे आर गॉड, दे हैव ऑल द पावर्स, दे कैन डू एनीथिंग एंड एवरीथिंग. एंड सेक्शन 71 के बाद दे हैव ट्राइड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि मैं जॉइंट कमिश्नर से परमिशन ले लेता हूँ और उसके बाद मैं किसी भी जगह पे घुस सकता हूँ एंड आई कैन डू एनी एक्शन व्हाट आई वांट. बट नो, एनी एक्शन इज नॉट permissible under this particular section. And plus I have the intention and I have the reading that this is an administrative power, and therefore आपको 15 दिन, 20 दिन या एक हफ्ता जो भी टाइम लिमिट इस सेक्शन में इन्विसेज किया गया है उसका टाइम लिमिट के अंदर आपको नोटिस देना पड़ेगा that these are the documents which we require for the purpose of inspection. We want to come to your premises for the purpose of inspection, and after giving that notice only they can come to our place. That is what is my reading, and therefore it is not an investigative power, and therefore they cannot come without sending notice to me. And second issue, that the person who is my jurisdictional officer only he can come. यानी अगर मेरा jurisdiction center है तो सेंटर वाला ही आ सकता है. ऐसा नहीं है कि सेक्शन 71 लेके स्टेट वाला आ जाएगा, बिकॉज दैट इज नॉट एट ऑल अलाउड बाय द 9th GST काउंसिल मीटिंग. इससे पर्टेनिंग एक ये मैटर है, नवकार इस्पात प्राइवेट लिमिटेड वर्सेस स्टेट ऑफ गुजरात. I also have argued various matters under this section before the honorable courts, High Court of Gujarat and Bombay, but we need to read this. It clearly says that competent authority has visited the business premise of the assessee and recovered certain amount from him. उन्होंने 10,41,000 रुपए का कलेक्शन कर लिया ये बोल के कि जो इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट आपने लिया है ये गलत क्रेडिट है, आपको अलाउड नहीं है, एंड देयरफॉर ये पैसा आप दीजिए और आपके स्टॉक में भी कुछ डिफरेंस है उसका भी पैसा आप दीजिए. सेक्शन 71 में दिस सेक्शन नेवर एंड एट नो प्लेस एनविसेजेस सच काइंड ऑफ पावर, देता ही नहीं है वो इस तरह की पावर. देन द असेसी वेंट बिफोर द ऑनरेबल कोर्ट and said ki please ask the officer to do the assessment or the provisional assessment first, and then accordingly he can make the collections from us. The competent authority was asked to do the assessment in accordance with law within the duration of 3 months, and then the collection can be made. This was pronounced. Now the other issue that I am arguing before the courts is that whether this power is an administrative or इन्वेस्टिगेटिव पावर. अगर इन्वेस्टिगेटिव है तो वो ऑथराइजेशन लेके जो आ रहा है सेक्शन 71 का, दैट ऑथराइजेशन इटसेल्फ इज इनवैलिड. अगर वो सर्च है, इन्वेस्टिगेटिव पावर है, तो उसको INS 01 लेके आना पड़ेगा, सेक्शन 67 को इन्वोक करना पड़ेगा. ही विल नॉट बी इन अ पोजीशन टू इन्वोक सेक्शन 71. इफ ही इज इन्वोकिंग सेक्शन 71 then I am afraid this is an administrative power, and therefore he will have to give me a notice before entering such kind of transaction. Now इससे मेरे को दो क्वेश्चंस क्लिक होते हैं which is in front of your screen. It says can the amount be recovered under the coercion at the time of search in cash or PDC post dated checks. वो जनरली सर्च पे आते हैं तो बोलते हैं साहब आपका 5 करोड़ का लायबिलिटी है, आपका 2 करोड़ का लायबिलिटी है, आप इतना भर दीजिए नहीं तो हम आपको अभी अरेस्ट कर लेंगे. So do they have that power? This is with reference to section 79. Section 79 deals with the collection, with the recovery. If we read that section 79, it provides for the collection mechanism once the tax payable is there. Once you have the adjudication done under section 73, 74, that yes, this is your tax liability, this is the amount which you are supposed to pay, or I have admittedly accepted that this is the amount which I have to pay. So at the time of search, as per my view, they do not have any power to ask you to make the payment or to do the recovery. टाइम नहीं है, अदरवाइज मैं इसमें शायद कुछ केसेस के साथ डिस्कस करता. बट दूसरा क्वेश्चन भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि अगर आपका कैश मिलता है एट द टाइम ऑफ सर्च, इफ सम कैश इज फाउंड देयर, कैन दे सीज दैट कैश एट द टाइम ऑफ सर्च? कई बार ऐसा होता है कि आपका 10 लाख 15 लाख रुपए वहाँ पे कैश पड़ा हुआ है और वो एलिगेशन लेके आते हैं, प्रिजुडाइज माइंड से आते हैं दैट यू हैव इवेडेड द टैक्स एंड देयरफॉर योर लायबिलिटी इज गोइंग टू बी 1 crore rupees, so we want to take this cash away and seize this cash. Can they do that? अगेन टू माई व्यू, अगर आप गुड्स और सर्विसेज का डेफिनेशन देखें और आप सेक्शन 67(2) देखें तो 67(2) बोलता है गुड्स लायबल फॉर कन्फिस्केशन. Goods liable for confiscation, the money is not goods specifically provided in the law itself, in the definition section, and therefore money cannot be seized, goods cannot be seized. It can be seizure of goods which are liable for confiscation, or documents or books or things. That is the only thing that can be seized by the departmental officers. Cash or money does not fall in any of the following, and therefore it cannot be seized as per my view. Moving further, this is a very important aspect which we need to understand and appreciate. I shared an example wherein the 9th GST Council meeting said that cross empowerment can be allowed only in case where it is notified, number one, or in case of enforcement. So जहाँ notified है वहाँ पे I have come across only one notification which is empowering the central for state and the state for central, and that is for refunds, section 54. सेक्शन 54 में आपको क्रॉस एम्पावरमेंट दिया है कि अगर आपका एसजीएसटी में ज्यूरिसडिक्शन है तो एसजीएसटी वाला सीजीएसटी वाले का भी सैंक्शन दे देगा, और अब तो ये भी हो गया कि वो उसका पेमेंट भी कर देगा. सो क्रॉस एम्पावरमेंट और क्रॉस ज्यूरिसडिक्शन आई हैव फाउंड इन लॉ इट इज स्पेसिफाइड ओनली इन केस by way of notification in case of refund. But 9th GST Council, first and foremost, the question arises कि unless it is notified, unless there is some document which is an official document, can the minute of 9th GST Council be relied upon and it can become a legal document? Let us not argue on that. There is a letter which has been issued on 5th October 2018. लास्ट में आप देख रहे हैं स्क्रीन पे वो लेटर का नंबर मैंने लिखा है. This letter says and this gives the takes the cognizance of that 9th GST Council meeting. और वहां पे इस लेटर में लिखा गया है कि अगर कोई सर्च की प्रोसीडिंग्स होती है तो क्रॉस एम्पावरमेंट रहेगा, और प्लस जो इनिशिएट करता है वो एक्शन, he will be the authority who will have to reach to the logical conclusion of that search. ये किसका रेफरेंस दे रहा है? This is giving a reference wherein multiple authorities are approaching me. So let us first try to see this case and then we'll have another discussion on another case. I'll just complete in 7-8 minutes, please, if I'm allowed to do so. I'll complete in 7-8 minutes.
Yes, sir, continue, no issue.
Okay, thank you. Suresh Bhai Gadecha versus State of Gujarat. Cross empowerment, it again says power to summon for evidence and documents. क्या कोई स्टेट वाला, अगर मेरा सेंट्रल ज्यूरिसडिक्शन है तो स्टेट वाला मुझे भेज सकता है नोटिस? तो यहाँ पे यही हो रहा था. यहाँ पे पहले सीजीएसटी वालों ने मेरे ऊपर सर्च किया, उसके बाद एसजीएसटी वालों ने नोटिसेस भेजने चालू कर दिए दैट दे आर आल्सो डूइंग सम इन्वेस्टिगेशन, एंड द मैटर वेंट बिफोर द कोर्ट एंड द कोर्ट हैव सेड नथिंग डूइंग. आप इस तरीके से नहीं कर सकते. देयरफॉर द मैटर एड इंटरिम रिलीफ वाज ग्रांटेड इन दिस पर्टिकुलर केस, and they have said that no recovery, no coercive action shall be taken against you, and the cognizance of this letter was taken. Now this is the matter which I would like to discuss. This was argued by me, Bhavani Textiles versus DGGI. Again in this case what has happened, पहले DGGI आया, Directorate General of GST Intelligence, then thereafter CGST came for investigation search, then thereafter SGST came for search, and then thereafter DGGI सूरत केम इनटू सर्च. पहले अहमदाबाद आया, बाद में सूरत भी आ गया, दो जोनल ऑफिसर आ गए. कैन दिस हैपन कि आप 5 अथॉरिटीज आ जाएं और सारे डॉक्यूमेंट, एक पहले जो आया था वो लेके चला गया. नाउ यू डू नॉट हैव एनी डॉक्यूमेंट टू सपोर्ट योर टू डिफेंड योर केस, एंड दे ऑल आर आस्किंग एंड सेंडिंग द समन्स टू यू. So this was wherein the multiple authorities approached my premises or approached me for the purpose of investigation and search. Now here this letter is very appropriate. I argued before the court. I submitted this letter that on the basis of this letter, first and foremost, let us please understand that this cannot happen. Multiple authorities cannot send you notices and you cannot be bound to comply with all the summons. स्टेट वाला भी बुलाएगा, सीजीएसटी वाला भी बुलाएगा, डीजीजीआई अलग से बुलाएगा, कल ईडी भी बुलाएगा, then I cannot, and whether I am there to do my business or I'm there to only respond to the summons. So therefore I approached before the court, or the petitioner approached the court, and the court has very categorically disposed of this petition, saying that referring to this letter which is dated 5th October 2017, the officer who has started the authorities who have started this enforcement action needs to conclude and make sure that there is no hardship caused to the taxpayer or to the petitioner by different authorities in the subject matter. So this is something which is very important to note and to keep in mind. Although prior laws में भी ऐसे precedences हैं, but ये GST का precedence है कि अगर आपके पास मल्टीपल अथॉरिटीज आती हैं तो जो इन्फोर्समेंट के केस में जो आपके पास पहले आता है, ही विल हैव टू कंक्लूड वेदर ही इज योर jurisdictional ऑफिसर और नॉट. That was the humble point which I was submitting. Now VN Mehta and Company versus Assistant Commissioner, Nunbakkam, Chennai. In this case, the issue was pertaining to recovery, Section 79 invocation. So I have already shared this. The entire view of mine कि 79 की रिकवरी कब हो सकती है. यहाँ पे क्या किया इन्होंने, जैसे अभी भी आप देख रहे होंगे कि इंटरेस्ट के बहुत सारे नोटिसेस आते थे और वो बैंक में लिख देते थे कि आपका 50 लाख रुपए इंटरेस्ट चार्ज करना है ग्रॉस के बेसिस पे, एंड यू ट्रांसफर द अमाउंट इन आवर दिस अकाउंट ऑफ गवर्नमेंट. ऐसा करके 79 में दे वर इन्वोकिंग द पावर्स. 79 सबसेक्शन 1 क्लॉज सी का वो पावर था जहाँ पे वो उसको यूज करते थे, एंड दैट द सेम पावर वाज यूज्ड इन दिस. And the petition was filed, and I am reading from third paragraph. It says revenue submitted that the assessee had admitted its liability through its statement, and therefore proper officer could deduct amount so payable from any money owing to such person as provided under section 79. Now further it was submitted that even otherwise as per section 83 the competent authority was entitled to make provision to protect interest of revenue. Now friends, please appreciate, as I have already said, that 83 का इन्वोक तभी कर सकते हो पावर जब आपके पास कोई प्रोसीडिंग्स पेंडिंग हो किसी पर्टिकुलर सेक्शंस में, which is provided in the law per se. So the question before the authority was determination of tax liability by resorting to procedures in accordance with law instead of issuing impugned proceedings straightway under section 79. पहले आप उसको इन्वेस्टिगेट करें या आप एग्जामिन करें, उसके बाद आप उसको डिटरमाइन करें लाइबिलिटी को, उसके बाद आपकी रिकवरी होती है. There are many judgments which are supporting this view, and therefore the court has said that no proceedings can pending against section 62, 63, 64, 73, 67, 74, and hence section 83 also would not come to rescue of the competent authority to sustain impugned proceedings, and therefore the impugned proceedings were not maintainable and deserve to be set aside. This is the last thing that I would like to touch upon, and this I found very interesting and crucial, so I've shared it. These are three matters which are before the Honorable Gujarat High Court. All the three matters is being argued by me. Now in this, there is invocation of section 80, read with section 39, read with section 16(4). The time is less, I will not be able to discuss in detail, but Octagon Communication, what has happened? You all will appreciate कि 2017-18 का 16(4) का limit, they have exceeded that limit, extended that limit from 20th October 2018 से उन्होंने 31 मार्च 2018 के रिटर्न तक का कर दिया था by way of a removal of difficulty order. They have inserted a proviso in section 16 subsection 4 by way of that order. Now the issue was that 31st मार्च का जो रिटर्न है वो 20th अप्रैल तक जाना है. Octagon Communication was not having that money to pay. The differential amount that has to be paid, that was not with Octagon Communication, and at the same time the Octagon Communications were also afraid कि उनका जो क्रेडिट है for 17-18, they will have to lose that credit if they do not file the return by 20th of April. So they have approached the Honorable Court wherein they have said कि there is no provision in the law which restricts me from filing return with payable tax. ऐसा कोई भी लॉ में प्रोविजन नहीं है सेक्शन 39 में कि जहाँ पे आप रिटर्न नहीं भर सकते with the tax payable or outstanding tax liability. But still the GSTN is not allowing me. GSTN is a new law altogether. You all will appreciate this. कि हम GST एक्ट पढ़ते हैं वो अलग लॉ है, GST law is something else. So they have said that GSTN is not allowing. Otherwise, in law it is permissible. Now, since I am unable to pay the tax and therefore I am unable to upload the return, I will be losing this credit which otherwise I am eligible for. See, the Honorable Court has agreed to it. They have allowed him by way of ad interim relief to uh, to file the returns manually and to avail the input tax credit under section 16 subsection 4. This was one thing. Second was installments are being allowed under section 80. The commissioner has the power. If you are unable to make the payment, you please approach your jurisdictional commissioner. He has the power under section 80 to allow you to make the payments under installments. So in next two cases, Nirman Cone Specialties Private Limited versus Union of India and Times Heavens Club Private Limited versus Union of India. In both these cases, what has happened was the assessees were, due to some or the other reason, they were unable to make the payment on time. They could not file the returns therefore, and the registration was cancelled. Now, when we read section 30, read with along with rule number 23, I believe, to 23 rule says that within 30 days, section 30 says that within 30 days you will have to file the revocation application, and rule says that you can file the revocation application only when you make the payment of tax along with interest and the penalty which is leviable thereon. Now, अगर मेरे पास पैसा ही होता तो मैं पैसा पहले ही भर देता. So I was not having money and therefore I have approached the Honorable Commissioner for granting me the installment. So we have approached the Honorable Court, wherein the court has been kind enough and they have appreciated the merit or the arguments, and they have allowed the installments to be paid. The only thing that is pending is manual filing of return. Now please appreciate, friends, please appreciate that मेरे पास पैसा नहीं था इसलिए मैं रिवोकेशन एप्लीकेशन नहीं फाइल कर पाया, एंड नाउ you will have to allow me filing of the revocation application manually or by any other means so that I can get my registration back and I can continue doing my business. Otherwise, this particular section or this particular rule is obstructing my right or infringing my right which is given by the constitution under article 19(1)(g), that is right to business. तो ये आर्ग्यूमेंट्स हम लोगों ने प्लेस किए हैं. द मैटर्स आर स्टिल टू बी हर्ड बट आई एम वेरी पॉजिटिव अबाउट द मैटर्स. The only point that I would like to address here is that there are provisions which are pertaining to installment payments, but please appreciate अगर आप installment payment agree भी कर लेते हैं, then they will have to bring out a system wherein the officer will inform the GSTN that yes, official payment has been done and these are the returns which are otherwise filed, because this has happened in case of Octagon Communications that the court has allowed us to file the returns manually, लेकिन सिस्टम में उनके अपडेट नहीं हुआ, इसलिए उनका रजिस्ट्रेशन अभी उन्होंने रिसेंटली कैंसिल कर दिया, saying that कि आपने 2 साल से रिटर्न नहीं भरा, whereas the returns for 1.5 years have already been filed manually. So these are certain issues which are going to be the burning issues in future, and because of the paucity of time, I've already exceeded my time limit. I'll have to stop here, and it was a wonderful discussion with all of you. I hope I have added some value to your knowledge, and I hand over to the committee, please.
Thank you, Avinash Poddar ji, for the wonderful deliberation. We can take the question. There is one question in the chat box from Sudeep ji. It says GST 3B for the month of November 17 filed in September 19, and ITC claimed whether 16 subclause 4 the time limit is applicable, as after paying of the late fees the return are regularized.
November 2017 return has been filed in September 2018 or 19.
19.
Okay. So as per the provisions of section 16(4), if I read it like in black and white, then certainly the credit is not allowed. They are blocking the credit. But I would say that 16 subsection 4 has already been challenged. Like I have already challenged it in various high courts, in Gujarat High Court, Bombay High Court, Madhya Pradesh High Court, Allahabad High Court, and Calcutta High Court. These high courts I have already challenged this section. Section 16 subsection 4, as per me, can be declared ultra vires over the period of time. But as of now, the provision is there and we'll have to abide with the provision, and we'll have to let go the credit. What at the most you can do is you can write a letter to the jurisdictional officer saying that these are the provisions. You can quote the judgments given by the Honorable Supreme Court in earlier regime, wherein they have said कि अगर आपका क्रेडिट कोई है जो आप टैक्स पेमेंट करके आपके पास राइट आता है, then that is something which becomes a vested right, and it is equated to the cash, it is equated to the property, and therefore you cannot take away that right of property of mine, and hence the credit shall be allowed merely on the basis of a non-compliance or non-fulfillment of a procedure. You cannot take away my credit, and that has been already pronounced. If you can appreciate, Adford is the judgment of this Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court, which speaks about the Tran credit. Siddharth Enterprises of Honorable Gujarat High Court. सब में वही precedences लिए हुए हैं, and borrowing the same kind of precedences, we can argue very well that 16(4) is bad in law. This
Thank
this
you.
is
Thank
only
you,
my
sir.
view. Yeah.
The next question is whether RCM pertaining to March 2018 paid in the month of December 19 ITC can be availed or not.
See, again, to be very precise, I would say yes. I would say yes, but there will be a problem of time of supply only. See, RCM in earlier regime, what was happening? आपका जो ड्यूटी पेइंग डॉक्यूमेंट होता था, चलन होता था, that was the document on which the credit was available to you. But now, pertaining to section or after reading section 31 of the CGST law, even in case of RCM under subsection 3, you have to issue the invoices on yourself. Self invoice का concept आ गया है. In case of RCM payments, if you are availing those services or goods from unregistered persons, so you'll have to raise an invoice on you depending on the time of supply, on the basis of time of supply, and therefore time of supply के हिसाब से बिल तो आपको पहले ही बना देना चाहिए था, जो आपने नहीं बनाया या आपने बनाया लेकिन पेमेंट बाद में किया. So I would say yes, you will be allowed the credit if you are paying delayed also, and
Thank you, sir.
there is no restriction of 16(4) in that case.
Thank you, sir. Next question is from Mr. Ravi. Is there any time limit to conclude the report after doing search?
Practically speaking, no, there is no time limit. But so far as search proceedings are concerned, once you come for the search, then it has to be continuous search. जैसे let me share one example of Gujarat. We have again filed a petition against that kind of search. They have initiated a search. State officers came after the whole day. At the end of the day, 8 बजे वो बोलते हैं कि अभी हम ये आपका सील करके जाते हैं. We'll come tomorrow. That cannot happen. So search has to continue. It needs to be concluded at one go. At the time of conclusion, there is a provision which says Panchnama needs to be created. Panchnama में there has to be witness. आप section 100, section 165 वो sections आप देखेंगे criminal law procedure के CRPC के, so you'll come to know that the Panchnama needs to be created, and that Panchnama becomes the very evidential document or the most important document of search. So you will have to base that, but yes, for reporting that search, there is no time limit.
Another question is from Mr. Dilip Kumar Somani. It happens sometimes CA offices are used for GST compliances, whereas books of accounts are kept at site office by contractor. Of what precaution to be taken?
I would simply answer that please refer section 35 subsection 1 proviso. It says even in case you have additional places, because अगर जहाँ पे books रख रहे हैं, और आप देखिए place of business का definition, वहाँ पे भी ये भी बोला गया है, या तो आप जहाँ registered है वो आपका place of business है, या फिर जहाँ books रखते हैं वो आपका place of business है. तो अगर आप books कहीं पे रख रहे हैं तो आपका place of business हो गया, and therefore you need to take or record that place also as your additional place of business. If it is your additional place of business, you are attracted or you are enforced the provision of section 35 subsection 1 proviso, which says कि even in case of additional places of business, the books or documents pertaining to that place must be kept at that place. So you'll have to make sure कि भले वो साइट पे रहे, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, साइट पे तो रहना ही पड़ेगा क्योंकि एडिशनल प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस है, लेकिन अगर आप अकाउंटिंग कॉमन कर रहे हैं और एक जगह पे कंसोलिडेट करके कर रहे हैं, so you can have the copies of all those documents at the place where the accounting is being done.
Another question is from Anil Katia ji. Is there any way that the taxpayer pays GST only once the sale proceeds are realized and not immediately on the
You can create a policy, but certainly, as per the GST law, there is a provision of section 12 and 13 which speaks about the time of supply. And time of supply is nothing but the date on which your liability to make the payment arises. So the liability arises on the time of supply. The liability arises on the time of supply. You will have to pay the tax according to the time of supply. I don't find any ways wherein the sales are realized and then thereafter you can make the payment of tax.
Thank you, sir. Next question is from Sia Ansul. Can we avail ITC of food supplied in canteen to the worker?
I could not hear your question. Vivek ji, if you can repeat the question, I cannot understand.
Yeah, sorry. Can we avail ITC of food supplied in canteen to the worker as per recent MHA guidelines?
See, this is something which is very disputed, I would say. But if I stick to the provision of section 17, subsection 5, तो वहाँ पे उन्होंने food and beverages की credit को block किया है. But at the same time, they have provided credits if you are also engaged in such kind of services. तो अगर आप food और beverages लेके उसको आप supply कर रहे हो, if you are charging something, then I am of the view, then even in that case you can take credit. Number one. Number two, they have also allowed credit in cases wherein the compulsion or any statutory mandate is there. So if any statutory provision mandates you, जैसे फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट है, फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट आपको मैंडेट करता है कि आप अगर इतने से ज़्यादा आपके वर्कर्स हैं, you will have to maintain a canteen. In that case, since it is mandated, even in those cases, I would say you can avail the credit. So certainly, अगर आप उसे चार्ज कर रहे हैं, तो आप उसकी क्रेडिट ले सकते हैं. This is my view.
Next question is from Neeraj Singhania ji. Can the sealing of property under section 69 can be done if it's not rented, instead owned as shown under case study mentioned?
See, to be first and foremost, whether it is falling in goods liable for confiscation, the answer is no. Whether it is falling in books or documents, the answer is no. Now we'll have to see whether it is falling in things. Again, there is no definition of the word things in any statute. We'll have to go by the parallel or common understanding. So common understanding में things includes anything and everything. कुछ भी include हो सकता है, but I would say that sealing cannot be allowed. Sealing shall not be allowed. Provisional attachment can be done. That is empowered under the law, but sealing cannot be done. You cannot seal. But generally what happens, let's say वो सर्च के लिए आए, आपको पहले से मालूम पड़ गया, क्योंकि आजकल क्लाइंट्स और टैक्स पेयर्स भी बहुत होशियार हैं. So उनको पहले से मालूम पड़ गया and they are trying to avoid that action, और वो उस वक्त अपना गोडाउन बंद करके चले गए. So the officer, for the purpose of protecting the revenue, they can put a seal, send a notice to the taxpayer that please appear before us or please open the offices for the purpose of our search on this particular date. मेरा केस जो मैंने रेफर किया, उस केस में क्या था कि 1.5 साल पहले सील कर दिया आपने. अब आप 1.5 साल से उस बंदे को ढूंढ रहे हो, तो मेरी प्रॉपर्टी आप सील करके क्यों बैठे हो? इस केस में क्या होगा, अगर आप ओनर हैं या आप रेंटेड हैं, तो आपको डिपार्टमेंट को करना ये चाहिए, दे हैव द पावर. They can issue a letter to you or a notice to you. They can seal that premise, issue a letter to you, wherein they can ask you to appear before them. और जब आप appear हो जाते हो, उसके बाद वो seal को खोल दें. Similar matter I am filing. I do not remember the name as of now, but Honorable High Court of Gujarat में we are going to argue after the post lockdown. This matter is already filed, wherein the sealing has been done. And now post ये लॉकडाउन के बाद जो ऑनरेबल जस्टिस है, उन्होंने बोला था सारे रेवेन्यू ऑफिसर्स और रेवेन्यू काउंसिल्स को that you can speak to the officers, and if some relief can be given, then the relief shall be given. So in that case of mine, the relief has been given and now the seal has been opened. तो मेरा ऐसा मानना है कि सील कर सकता है, लेकिन सील करने वो तब कर सकता है जब वो आप अवॉइड कर रहे हैं. अदरवाइज he cannot seal, he can provisionally attach under section 83.
Thank you, sir. Next question from Amit Saraf ji. Whether ITC is required to be reversed on beverages product which expired and not fit for human consumption?
See, anyways, this has to be, forget about beverages. Anyways, it has to be reversed, because section 17(5) clause H says that goods lost, destroyed, or I don't remember the exact wording of it. If it falls into that, then certainly it has to be reversed.
Sir, adding to this question, if the expired goods are returned to the wholesalers or the company, then what is the case? Because expired good doesn't have a market value. So what will happen to the full GST norm in that?
See, if I take up this in this fashion, like if it is a case of medicine, if I'm purchasing medicine from the factory and after 2 years the medicine is expired, then there is a circular also of the department which has explained this concept कि अगर आप उसको वापस कर रहे हैं, पहले तो आपने जब मेडिसिन खरीदा होगा तो उस पर आईटीसी ले लिया होगा, अभी अब आपके पास स्टॉक पड़ा हुआ ही है और वो स्टॉक को अब आप वापस भेज रहे हैं, तो first and foremost the impact can be that ITC needs to be reversed. Now once you reverse the ITC, there shall not be any question of leviability of tax on that, and otherwise also there is no consideration involved, so it cannot be falling it may not fall under the definition of supply.
Correct. Thank you, sir.
मेरे हिसाब से उस पे टैक्सेबिलिटी नहीं आएगी.
Sir, there is a question from Sunil Ji Khandelwal Ji about the same case, recent ruling GST payable to on director's remuneration under RCM.
Clay craft. मैं अपना अगर पर्सनली अपना पर्सनल व्यू शेयर करूं तो आई हैव नेवर read any advanced ruling. Advanced rulings, I do not rely on that. I do not read that. So please do not read it. If you have ample time to waste, then you can read advanced rulings. This is my humble submission. I'm sorry, ये मेरा view है. I agree that many of you will not agree to this. But let me share my view. In case of director's remuneration, there are n number of letters, or I would say the presentations and the articles which have been issued by various experts over this period of 20 days after the pronouncement of that particular ruling. I also have the same view that the director's remuneration needs to be evaluated on the facts and circumstances of the case. ऐसा नहीं है कि upfront आप बोलोगे कि every director's remuneration RCM is applicable. You will have to see if he is a whole-time director, if you are deducting TDS on that, if you are paying that to the income tax department, then obviously it becomes a employee of the organization. Then there is a contract. You need to see the contract with that department, whether the contract is envisaging the employer-employee relationship, then you are covered to Schedule 3. So it depends. The one-line answer cannot be there, but I would say that there are very few receipts which are taxable under reverse charge for a director. Otherwise, it was a settled principle under service tax also कि हर डायरेक्टर रेमुनरेशन के ऊपर आप आरसीएम नहीं लगाएंगे, सिटिंग फीस पे आप आरसीएम लगाएंगे. लेकिन अगर डायरेक्टर आपको कोई सर्विसेज दे रहा है, लेट्स से आई एम डायरेक्टर ऑफ योर कंपनी एंड आई एम प्रोवाइडिंग अ सर्विसेज ऑफ अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, then in that case the RCM is not applicable. So it depends and on the circumstances and the case and facts of the case.
Thanks, sir. There cannot be a blanket ruling on directors.
Absolutely.
Second, last question I would take is GST payable on ocean freight under RCM on import of goods by importer?
Friends, Mohit Minerals settled by Honorable Gujarat High Court. They have already said that ocean freight पे GST नहीं लगेगा. It is a ruling, a very lengthy ruling. And I'm very sure the department is going to proceed against that before the Honorable Supreme Court. But the way and the manner in which the ruling has been pronounced by the court, I would recommend that please read that ruling, every word of that ruling, and that ruling is going to be there even before the Supreme Court. So as per me, the simple answer is no. Technically also and legally also, there cannot be two taxes. It cannot be levied under GST. So ocean freight पे RCM नहीं लगेगा. That is what is pronounced by the Honorable High Court of Gujarat also. Mohit Minerals is the citation.
The last question I would take, it's debatable again, about the input of the civil construction for immovable property. If same is the part of plant and machinery, without the civil structure, the plant cannot run. Kindly enlighten.
See, first and foremost, you need to segregate and define whether it is really an immovable property or not. If it is an immovable property, see, there in the past precedences, in the past era also, there were n number of judgments. Let's say मेरे को एक अभी judgment ध्यान आ रहा है जहाँ पे बोला था boiler. If you have a boiler installed in a factory, that boiler at that point of time when it is installed is on a basis of a structure, and it becomes or takes the color of a immovable property. But that boiler can be uninstalled and it can be taken away to some other place wherein it can be used again without causing any damage. तो अगर आप उसको अनस्ट्रक्चर कर सकते हो और फिर दूसरी जगह ले जाके यूज कर सकते हो, then certainly it becomes a movable property. It becomes, जैसे आजकल हाई राइज टाइल्स यूज होते हैं जो आपके डेटा सेंटर्स होते हैं, उसके नीचे से वायरिंग जारी होती है, तो यू कैन टेक अवे those tiles and use those tiles at some other place. So for me, that is not an immovable property, that is a movable property. So if it is an immovable property, then in that case, I'm afraid section 17(5) clause D will restrict you. At the same time, there is a ruling, there is a pronouncement of Odisha High Court. In case of safari retreats, you can borrow that also, and you can claim credit accordingly, depending on the amount which is involved. If you, and plus your appetite for the litigation. And if it is movable, then there is no question. So agar plant and machinery hai, the plant and machinery there is no restriction. It has been excluded from the definition of 17(5)(c) and D also. It has been excluded. If it is plant and machinery, you can certainly take credit, even if it is immovable. That is my view.
I think same will be also the case with the silos in cement industry and storage tank with the edible oil industry. Where huge
Correct.
tanks are made, it's a part of plant and machinery. Without that, the plant and
Correct.
machinery cannot run. It's an integral part of the plant.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Correct, sir. Thanks a lot, sir, for taking your valuable time and enlightening us with various case laws. Because although we are going to complete 3 years of GST, but it is still in the nascent stage, we can say, because it's ever changing, re-engineering is happening every day in, day out. So thanks
Sir,
a lot.
I would just like to add one thing, that even today we are fighting and arguing the matters which are pertaining to central excise, which has gone after 72 years. So GST में तो अभी 33 महीना ही हुआ है.
That is मैंने हुआ है. तो वही है कि it's again re-engineering, changing and taking a new shape. And with this lockdown and various change in provisions, lots and lots of litigations are expected in near future also pertaining to the lockdown. Thanks a lot for taking this wonderful session.
Thank you so
And
much.
ACA is always looking forward. Arunji is always informing us about your work, which is there. Arun Kumar Agarwalji from our past president. And Tarunji was also appreciative. He is not able to present today, but he told to give his thanks and his best wishes. Friends,
Thank you.
everyone, we would like to inform that we are having session every day at 11 o'clock. Do join us tomorrow. To see the repeat cast of this video, visit our channel on YouTube and always be there on our Facebook page. Thank you, Avinash Poddar once again.
Thank you so much.
Everyone
Thank
for
you.
joining.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.